rivers, roads, and rails. So many either end at or pass through this place. It's no wonder that Chehalis, Washington has a long history of being a hub for commerce in this area. Agricultural products and construction material move around town at a fever pace, but it's this town's infamous history of moonshiners and rum runners that seems more relevant. The idea that a less than legal practice can evolve into a legally licensed industry is sometimes met with confusion and resistance, but for a military veteran and his crew, who have raised a grassroots effort to improve this community, it is met by optimism and gratitude.
Hi, I'm David Faulk. I'm one of the owners of the Green Vault. My wife Shelly and I started the Green Vault exactly 1 year ago, just 2 days ago. It's been an exciting journey. We're a Tier 2 here in Chehalis, Washington. We're only about 8,000 square foot, and so far it's been a great job.
This farm dances to a faster tempo than any other I've ever seen. A strict staccato style schedule keeps the beat, while verse after verse of wheeled carts carries the tune. In minutes, the modular design of this farm can reveal what looks like a tangled jungle to actually be a carefully tuned weed machine. And this machine is reliably running at peak performance. Here at Green Vault, new plants are born and old plants are harvested every single day. If you're new to pot production, that might not seem very impressive, so let's break it down for a minute. New plants start as small branches cut from a mother plant, which has to be kept in careful isolation away from the rest of the garden to protect its genetic treasures from the life-ending process of flowering. These fragile cuttings are then incubated at very specific conditions for weeks in a delicately balanced nursery. Once they have sprouted strong roots, they are repotted and moved into the vacated home of their sisters, who have just been moved to the main stage to flower, who in turn have just replaced plants that were harvested earlier that day. Plants whose flowers will be trimmed at the same table that was just cleared of yesterday's harvest, which is being hung to dry on the recently vacated strings of the previous day's dried dro, which is simultaneously being sealed in curing jars that are still fresh with the cured cannabis that was packaged for sale earlier that day, before being delivered to stores around the state on the very next day. Cloned, grown, flowered, trimmed, dried, cured. Cloned, grown, flowered, trimmed, dried, cured. Cloned, grown, flowered, trimmed, dried, cured. Cloned, grown, flowered, trimmed, dried. Every single day. Keeping up with this head-spinning pace requires a level of foresight and dedication that the Green Vault family rises to meet every single day. This marijuana merry-go-round style of farming is even more impressive once you see how many varieties are being offered. We all know at least one person who maintains the antiquated idea that weed is bad, a viewpoint that is instantly arguable based on their homogeneous description of weed being one thing. Cannabis isn't one plant. It's thousands of different plants. It's thousands of different products that have thousands of different benefits for thousands of different people. In the industry, these individual varieties are called strains. Each genetically unique strain of plant has qualities that can be as subtly diverse and complex as the world's finest wines. Here at Green Vault, that potential for diversity is celebrated and has led to the creation of completely new flowers whose flavors and effects have never been experienced before.
And then if we go over here, this is our cloning room. So we have started with 108 strains. We've narrowed it down to about 85. We're still running it down smaller. Ideally, we want to get to about 75, 80 strains, and once we do that, then we're going to start popping the seeds.
Awesome.
And then we want to get a truly unique menu.
What's going to be kind of like your dream hybrid that you want to make?
Oh man, I don't know. To say the dream, it all depends on the mood.
Okay.
It depends on what's going on in my life. It depends on what we're doing. If we're having a barbecue, then I want a really good sativa that's got me, chatty and being the life of the party, And if it's towards the end of the night or I had a long day, then I want a really good indica to just let me relax, let me sleep well and sleep through the night. So I don't know what would be a dream one. I mean, I think if we ever found one, I think that it's time to retire.
Yeah, fair. Show me some of these. I get to stand and look at them, and they're in the
Yeah.
background, and I want to look you in the
Yeah.
eyes, but I
Okay.
can't because I've
Yeah,
got these
please,
beautiful ladies
please
staring
come and
at
check
me.
them out. I mean, there's some Dutch Tree, there's some Raisin Sang Lung, we got Triple X, Trinity, Williams Wonder. And
I
the thing is
really like Trinity.
when you see this tray, only half of these are going to end up making it out there.
stuff.
We've got a Mother of Dragons, we've got a Seven Kingdoms that we just named, and that one's taken off. We're actually almost sold out of that one. Like I said earlier, our Fainting Goat is unbelievable, our Gator Kush. So our Frosty Mist was developed by one of our master growers. Our Northwest Mist was Dan that you met earlier.
Yeah.
Dan O, he's the creator of that. So that's the unique thing is he's old school, so he actually doesn't, not just breeding, but he is actually into grafting. So that's where you can get into an exact science of, it's not, hey, this is 50-50, let's see what comes out.
Right.
This can be, we're gonna put 10% of this into this. And then, okay, that was good, let's add another 10%. So
Right.
it's been pretty unique in that sense. And like I said, we have 20 or 25 more that we haven't named yet. So it's nice for us to go to somebody and say, hey, we'll carry your exact strain, your personal strain.
That's awesome.
The Latin word
I want a
cannabis
strain.
translates into English as two canes. This references the plant's trait of being either male or female. The never-ending variability of cannabis can be explored by tracking which males and females are exposed to each other. The offspring of these controlled couplings are as individual as you or me. They all look different, they all grow differently, and they all have different capabilities. If a strain arises that's more desirable than the rest, it becomes the new mother plant, and if kept in good health, can supply an endlessly renewable source of genetically identical cuttings or clones. Along with a new strain's different flavor profile and different therapeutic properties, they also have different environmental needs. Some might need half the nutrients as their neighbors, others twice as much. What's too hot and humid for one might be too cold and dry for the next. The only way to assure that every plant's needs are being met in such a diverse garden is to spend quality hands-on time with every single one. A practice that the Green Vault gardeners tend to on a daily basis. And that's why creating and growing so many different varieties is so impressive, especially at the pace of this place.
We don't try to do anything the easy way. We don't try to cut any corners. We try to do it the right way. And the right way sometimes takes more people. Sometimes it takes more time. But if we know that we hand water every plant and we look at every plant, we know that we put eyes on it and we make sure that that plant is in its best health condition the entire process. So for us, it's essential to first create good habits and then make it an everyday thing.
The Green Vault itself is growing almost as fast as its plants are. Licensing limits and vocal locals all too often limit the potential of pot-friendly businesses, and Green Vault is no exception.
Well, initially, this is a small town. It's a very conservative town. So originally, this town had a moratorium. So eventually, the building owner went to the council meetings, and he petitioned to get the moratorium lifted. So once he did, we saw an opportunity, we got in, and then there were still some people that tried to stop us calling a median, they tried to call it a park, even though it was just a traffic median in the middle of an intersection. So that was one.
Despite all these pot shots, evolution of public opinion, expansion of operations, and a firmer grasp on how businesses like these benefit our communities is inevitable.
You and your wife, Shelly, built this.
Pretty much, yes, with a lot of help.
Yeah.
But yeah, from scratch, yeah. I was working on the fishing boats, and she was here on a scissor lift, pressure washing these walls and patching and putting the sheetrock up for months before I even came home. You know, you're not, at the end of the day or the end of your lifespan, it's not really what you made, how much money you made, it's how many people's lives you touched,
Yeah.
what kind of change you made. So
Absolutely.
try to live that way, This one's really good for anxiety, for PTSD, so that's why we decided to call her Wounded Warrior. Originally, we were going to donate to Wounded Warrior, but right about the time we got her up and going, they had the problem with money and the CFO and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we actually just found a new charity that's actually Washington-based, out of Seattle, called Operation 57 War.
Operation 57 War.
And 95% of the money goes to the veteran programs. And
People who use this and need
their
this stuff.
programs are service dogs.
Awesome.
And they do camping and hiking trips for the veterans when they first get home to, be reacclimated to society. So that's who we switched over, and that's who we'll be making our donations from this strain. So every gram, every sale of Wounded Warrior, a portion of it goes to help our combat vets.
Awesome. That's incredible. And,
Well, you got to give back, you know.
Absolutely. And did you mentioned earlier you did some time in the service?
Yes, I was in the military. My dad was in the military. My dad did 2 tours in Vietnam, and so it was important to me and to us, to my wife as well. My wife, her brother is special needs, and I have a son. He's autistic, so we want to put cannabis in a positive limelight and educate people about that it is a healthy medicine. It is good for you. It is not dangerous for you, and so we've been trying to get involved and do some charitable things. We did a food.
So you're going from the tier 2, that's a 10,000 foot?
10,000 square foot canopy. We're only at 8, but we will be at 10 probably in the next 2 months.
Awesome.
And then this can be up to 30, and we will be 30.
This is a big room.
Big room.
What are you going to use this specific space
This
for?
room right here specifically will be split into 2, and this will be 2 flowering rooms.
Okay, awesome. So you're going to have a wall right just kind of
Somewhere roughly in here, yeah.
in the area?
Right.
Amazing.
Yes.
Is there future growth in mind? I mean, as far as...
No, we'll max this out. We'll max this out. There'll be 1,500 lights in here. Right.
100 lights.
Right.
That is insane.
Yes. That'll take us right up to 30,000 square foot. This will also have the full kitchen and all 3 extractions.
All 3 extractions.
Yeah, we'll do rosin, CO2, and BHO.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Ever heard of dabs? If there's a stoner in your life who's under 30 years old, then you probably have. But in case you haven't, dabs is common slang for hash oil. A dab is a single serving size portion of hash oil, and 2 dab is to smoke a dab of dabs. So, hash oil, or dabs, are most often produced by steeping cannabis in a liquid solvent of some kind. The solvent is then filtered out and evaporated, leaving behind a sticky residue we call dabs. There must be a dozen different solvents that are commonly used for this process. What is less common are the solvent-free techniques. Extracting this sticky product without dissolving it in a liquid is a real squeeze. An industrial-strength hydraulic press pins cannabis flowers between 2 gently heated metal plates at up to 6,000 psi. As the flowers are compacted tighter and tighter, their essential oils start to seep from the seams, separating themselves from the crushed flowers that are trapped in the press. This process, now known as pressing rosin, was pioneered long ago to extract oil from the seemingly dry and brittle fruits of the olive tree, or to ensure that every last drop of precious juice was collected from the most prized wine grapes. New tabletop versions of this technology, like this machine from Hard Press, are one of the most portable, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly ways to produce the kind of high-quality dabs that are usually only acquired through the distillation of flammable solvents. And believe me, this solvent-free rosin has a flavor and potency that can compete with any other high-quality extract found in the Washington weed market.
Yeah, I'm Bruce with the Green Vault. I'm going to run you through the process of pressing rosin. You want to grab the pouch there.
What's in here? What have we done so far?
This right here is our fainting goat strain, and we've stuffed 15 grams into this pouch.
15 grams.
15 grams.
This looks like an eighth.
That's 15 grams.
Okay, so you take this, and what is this machine? What is this doing here?
It's a hard press rosin press. It's heat on both sides.
Okay. That's like a hair straightener.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we just want to put this in there, kind of get it as centered as possible.
Okay.
And then we want to put another piece of parchment paper on top.
Okay.
And then we just want to go ahead and
press this button?
Press the button, yeah.
This one?
No, the top.
Top one.
And then once it gets up and it stops, you want to press the bottom one real quick. Go ahead and press the bottom one. Now press it again. Now press the top one. And that gives it a real good press.
Oh, okay. You just kind of prime squeeze it. And then...
And then we're going to let it sit for about 45 to 60 seconds. So we'll see it here in a second come oozing out of there.
Bubbling up in there. Oh man, that's groovy. And how hard is this pressing this?
1,500 pounds? 1,600 pounds?
6,000.
Oh, 6,000 pounds.
6,000 pounds.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
it's
see
oozing.
how it's oozing out there?
It's just pouring out. When do you know it's done?
It stops bubbling. You know, when it stops coming out, you can kind of see where it's kind of flowing out.
Yeah.
It kind of stops doing that. It's different for every strain.
Okay. It's everywhere. It's all over on the side.
Yeah. this fainting goat will get a good
Super
return
good
on it,
amount,
yeah.
yeah. And it's just heat and pressure.
Just heat and pressure.
Wow. How hot is it?
It's about 170 degrees.
170 degrees. So about as hot as a latte, really. About 10 degrees hotter than a latte.
Yeah. Better than a latte.
Yeah, 100%. More effective for damn sure.
Right.
I'll tell you that much. Oh my goodness. So
And that's probably about as much as we're gonna get. So go ahead and press this bottom button and let it just go all the way down. And then what we want to do is just gonna bring this out as flat as possible so we don't get any plant material in the rosin.
And that's rosin.
And that is rosin right there.
It
Take this
smells
little pup,
incredible.
Toss it to the side. That's
And
it.
so out of 15 grams, what's a yield like on that? Something like this. Is it about a gram or
We hope for at least 2.
2 grams out of 15?
Yeah, this is probably, if I had to guess, probably between 1.5 and 2. So,
Wow. That's gorgeous stuff. I mean, just.
yeah, nice and clear.
Yeah. This is beautiful. And it's simple.
Yeah.
This is fantastic, man. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have the chance to talk to you and extract an oil with you. This is, I thought it was going to be crazy. I thought it was going to be difficult, but it was pressing
Super
two
easy.
buttons, man.
Yep, super easy.
Wow. Thank you so much, dude.
Absolutely.
I really can't thank you enough.
My pleasure.
Providing safe access to what for some is harmless fun and what for others is a life-saving medicine is only one facet of how beneficial businesses like Green Vault can be to a local economy. These people aren't only growing pot, they're growing dozens of living wage jobs. They're not only investing in a business plan, they're investing in the towns and communities that support them. Still, resistance, based on personal prejudice and endorsed by political power, is surprisingly common. If only the few passionate people in municipalities who aim to outlaw these positive progressions could spend the day in Dave's garden. They might notice that they have more similarities with their neighbors than they have differences. They might see that the licensing limits and moratoriums they support don't only regulate plants. They don't only regulate businesses. They regulate families. And with any luck, they might realize that the entire time they were fighting against this culture, the Green Vault family was continuing to make our world a better place for all of us. Every single day.
Got a 100 your way.